It's 6 p.m. This is SNN, the Suncoast News Network, your local news leader.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Eric Wilson, filling in for Don Brennan. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and thank you for joining us here on the SNN Evening Edition. Let's get right to our top story. Congressman Vern Buchanan spoke with Suncoast scientists and commissioners today about how to combat red tide, and our very own SNN's Brianna Boskert has more.
My goal is for us to have a shared vision and a shared plan and go get it done.
The Suncoast is suffering from another serious red tide outbreak. Local leaders gathered on Bradenton Beach Friday to try and find solutions.
It's not just about the beaches and tourism. It's about real estate. It's about jobs. It impacts who we are, especially when you look at most of the population are on our coast. So it's a big deal.
The county commissioners have embarked on a 5-year CIP plan. We're talking about infrastructure now. That's going to be $1.3 billion in our utilities department, and that is focused on replacing old sewer lines.
As one of his top 10 priorities in Congress, Congressman Vern Buchanan introduced the Protecting Local Communities from Harmful Algal Blooms Act.
When we have all the dead fish and the cleanup and all the other things, is that we got the resources technically and financially to help our communities in this area to take care of that financial aspect of it.
This change would require FEMA to provide both technical and financial assistance to states suffering from red tide.
You know, we're the only place in the country that has 3 national estuaries on our border. And by that fact alone, we have a responsibility to be the stewards of those estuaries.
The end goal: preserve and protect the coastline we are all so lucky to call home. Reporting in Manatee County, Brianna Boskert, SNN, the Suncoast News Network.
Now, Congressman Buchanan has previously secured $8 million for red tide research and backed a proposal signed into law by President Trump to provide more than $100 million to combat the harmful algae blooms. Now, staying in Florida, today, the U.S. Department of Labor announced the award of nearly $20 million in equity grants to Florida, Mississippi, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. Now, these grants will allow Florida to implement projects to remove barriers such as race, age, ethnicity, language, proficiency, disability status, geographic location, which makes it harder to access unemployment insurance benefits. The department did award each state with the amount that was requested. The awards are the latest equity grants issued after the department's August 2021 announcement. Well, now Governor DeSantis is calling COVID a, quote, woke virus and praising Florida for avoiding a fascist dystopia. He also harshly criticized the federal response and claimed it led to an uncertain economic climate. The governor, Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo, and a group of supporters marked the 3-year anniversary of the outbreak of the COVID pandemic. The virus, however, continues to take a toll on Floridians. Johns Hopkins University estimates there have been more than 7.5 million cases and almost 87,000 deaths. Now, facing threats from protesters and misinformation being spread about its practices and staff, a Suncoast hospital attempts to set the record straight. SNN's Christy Sultan tells us more.
Sarasota Memorial Hospital is a hospital that has been serving the community for over a century. From treating polio patients during the 1940s to COVID patients over the last few years. But not everyone is happy with how Sarasota Memorial Hospital is handling patients with COVID. While the number of threats is down from a few weeks ago, SMH Board Chair Tram Hudson is focusing on moving forward.
Things that we can control at Sarasota Memorial, and there are things that we can't control. And those things are like CDC protocols or NIH recommendations. And, you know, our board has been very focused on what can we control.
In response to the backlash, the hospital board decided to publicly release a 3-year review on their COVID-19 care. SMH Chief Medical Officer Dr. James Farica says the numbers say it all.
We had a 24% lower mortality rate. We had lower complication rates relative to other hospitals in Florida and others in the country. We were able to keep up with our supply chain.
In Sarasota, Christy Sultan, SNN, the Suncoast News Network.
Now, the board does plan on focusing on expanding their hospitals. Together we stand, divided we fall. Sounds good, right? Well, a Suncoast charity is banding together and taking the time and taking it to the streets. And I want to thank the Gulf Coast Community Foundation for allowing me to tell their story. Gulf Coast Community Foundation has been hosting luncheons since 2006. Today, they brought the party to downtown.
We're at the Better Together block party on State Street, celebrating community, collaboration, and all that we can accomplish when we work together. We really couldn't do the work that we do at Gulf Coast Community Foundation without the collaboration of our donors and our nonprofit partners. So this event is really to celebrate the work that we all do together. Community, collaboration, and connection are really at the heart of everything that Gulf Coast does.
Gulf Coast's mission: transform the Suncoast together with the assist from donors through bold and proactive philanthropy, creating thriving communities with opportunities for all.
And we provide a horticultural setting for our veterans to come and experience wellness, peace, camaraderie. What we're doing is we have wonderful pots that were donated by the Gulf Coast Community Foundation that we're decorating. That's what we like to do. Veterans join the military to be in service, and this is another way that they can continue to be in service to the community.
Gulf Coast Community Foundation is the philanthropic home of more than 1,000 families and invested nearly $500 million in grants in the areas of health and human services, civic and economic development, education, arts and culture, and the environment.
We're here tonight to celebrate the community, but really to celebrate all the good things the Gulf Coast Community Foundation does for the community.
Reporting in Sarasota, Eric Wilson, SNN, the Suncoast News Network. They truly are #Better Together. As an organization, Gulf Coast Community Foundation says they will be here in perpetuity to address emerging needs and ensure their impact is here forever. Well, Sarasota Opera is bringing back a masterpiece which has not been seen in the U.S. in over 40 years. Masane Terez opens tonight, and whether you are a lover of opera or even if this is the first time, Terez is worth seeing. Full of drama, glorious music, great acting, and great singing, it embodies Maestro Dorenzi's vision of bringing back and introducing timeless classics to Sarasota. The opera stage director, Catherine M. Carter, shared her thoughts.
Feels like we're working on a new old opera because it's new to all of us. When we all were contracted, most of us hadn't even heard of Terez. So we've had the beautiful gift of discovering this opera, these characters, this music, and the story together in the room, which is such a gift.
Now, this piece is being labeled as extraordinary, and again, even if you've never been to the opera, I truly recommend you see it. Grateful to the general director and Maestro Dorenzi for their mission of bringing back these classics to the operatic culture here in the United States. All right, well, now it is time for our Sarasota City Report with Sarasota City Manager Marlon Brown.
3 years ago, the first roundabouts along US 41 in the Sarasota city limits opened for travel. One at 14th Street, the other at 10th. Before, during, and after the construction, city staff and the Florida Department of Transportation offered extensive education on how to use roundabouts. During the past 3 years, these roundabouts have improved north-south traffic flow. Unfortunately, 3 crashes with injuries occurred last weekend in the roundabouts at 10th and 14th Streets. What caused the crashes? Our Sarasota Police Department says speed, failure to navigate, and intoxication were involved. Again, these crashes happened at roundabouts that have been in place for 3 years, not the new Gulfstream Avenue roundabout. With an influx of new residents and visitors to Sarasota who may not be familiar with how to use multi-lane roundabouts, I've directed city staff to reactivate our roundabout safety education program, including information shared with Visit Sarasota and local rental car companies. The necklace of roundabouts along US 41 from 14th Street to Gulfstream Avenue has been in the works for 20 years, when our community envisioned a way to enhance pedestrian connectivity between the Bayfront and downtown while continuing safe traffic flow. Roundabouts have fewer conflict points than traditional signalized intersections and reduce severe crashes significantly. Currently, 4 roundabouts are located along US 41 at 10th Street and 14th Streets, Fruitville Road and Gulfstream Avenue. While the Gulfstream roundabout opened for vehicles in late December, FDOT crews are finalizing construction. Work will continue on signage and aesthetics through the spring, and full functionality, including pedestrian features and signals, is expected to be complete by early summer. Then, landscape will be installed later this fall. When approaching a roundabout, it's important to slow down and follow the posted signage and pavement markings. Remember, yield to vehicles already moving within the roundabout, and we ask our residents and visitors to continue patience and use caution as drivers learn the new traffic patterns. Until next time, I'm City Manager Marlon Brown. Be safe.